against the German number 2 in Sabine Lisicki. Semi-finalist last year, quarter-finalist in 09.
Ready? Play.
Lisicki to begin.
15 love.
And I can tell you that's not going to be the first of those.
Her best ace count was 10 against Jovanovski, second round. Served wonderfully well.
It's just a magnificent serve.
She did serve 12 double faults as well in that match, though. So it's a little up and down.
The other thing, when she was playing Sharapova the other day, she finally on her third match point, having goofed up a couple of sort of odd shots in the middle of the court, she served an ace down the tee on a second serve. I spoke to her father after that match, and they're lovely. They're always very chatty and very relaxed. And I said, that was a great serve. Yes, but she should have done it on the first one.
Well, did well to dig it out and will take the luck.
30 all.
Especially in this opening service game against a player you've never beaten.
Yeah, we saw one little glimpse of a huge forehand down the line from Kerber. We'll see more of those.
Hmm. 30, 40.
It's a couple of balls that Lisicki has got right on top of us. Just been beaten by the pace and not driven through the ball at all. So not such a good opening here. Break point already.
Made it. It's the best possible start for Kerber.
First game.
And the worst for Lisicki, getting broken in the opening game.
Yeah, a couple of not such good shots from Sabine there. But amazing how comfortable Kerber is looking off the ground already.
Miss Angelique Kerber to serve. Love.
Really fed up.
30 love.
It's against Tamira Pashek. Also through to the quarterfinals, of course.
She's waiting for court number 1.
Love.
Well, that's an awfully good start from Kerber. You know, I really hadn't paid too much attention to Kerber until the US Open last year. And I went and watched her playing against Panetta. And I mean, I was right down at courtside, and boy, did she hit the ball ferociously and so flat and out of difficult positions. I thought, my goodness, this is impressive.
She's lightning quick too.
Love.
That was a feel-good shot from Lisicki.
All. 15. All.
Yeah.
14.
Couple of good points, but still doesn't look settled. The break point.
And making the point.
Torben Beltz, Kerber's coach.
On a couple of better ground strokes from Lisicki, but a little uneven so far.
Nice. There's Sabine's father and coach, Dr. Richard. Elizabeth alongside, who's an artist. Both Polish.
I don't know what that shot was, really. It wasn't really ever going to be the right shot. It's amazing, isn't it? Realizing that her parents are both Polish. Kerber's background is also Polish. A lot of very good Polish players if they all played for Poland.
Advantage, Miss Kerber.
Sabine has to do is sort of get herself a little moving. She just has been standing a little stock still at the ball in the middle of the court. Sometimes that's from nerves. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get yourself going.
Just going to the worry blanket. I don't know why they call them towels. But this is a big game. Just if you can save a couple of break points, get a game on the board. Do a power of good.
Oh, it's good to see
Advantage, Miss Lisicki.
that Sabine, unlike so many players, has taken the opportunity to just place a ball relatively gently into the open court and win the point instead of belting it a million miles an hour. I think the thing that I like about Angelique Kerber's forehand is that so many of the players who really like to hit the inside-out forehand don't have such a great forehand down the line. But she loves to hit the inside-out, but then she still has this amazing shot just straight as an arrow down the line.
Miss Lisicki.
Quite a few still getting refreshment, perhaps, after the last match. First sit down, I'm sure many will stream back in after this game. Which is a long game.
Yet another error from Lisicki that goes halfway down the net. Not a bad idea having a long game. I mean, obviously you like to win the games as quickly as you can, but a long game can get you going.
Advantage, Miss Kerber.
It's all gone a little quiet. Third chance to get the double break for Kerber.
That's 3 break points not converted.
Advantage, Miss Lisicki.
Well done.
Miss Kerber leads 2 games to 1 for set.
Yes, we talked about this before coming to do the match, Virginia. The fact that she's not beaten her opponent in 4 previous attempts, but she's been semi-final here, quarter-final here. Kerber's only been to 3rd round and 3 first rounds. But how do you get by that in terms of the matchup?
There was a great quote today from one of the other quarterfinalists who hasn't played yet, the girl who's going to play Azarenka, Tamira Pashek, who is a lovely player. And they were asking her, you know, you haven't done that well against Azarenka, but she said everybody is beatable at times or on the day. And I thought, well, that is really absolutely right. You just, you know, you go in, it's very difficult in tennis to overcome the barrier of having a bad record against somebody. It really is, because you can get to a winning position and it's very hard to finish it off. However, there's no reason not to start well, because you should be very excited about playing somebody anyway. So a little disappointed that Lisicki dropped her opening service game. I think actually that particular record is not as relevant as maybe the fact that Kerber is very inexperienced.
Quiet, please.
And often when you've not broken with break points, you struggle on your next service game.
So right.
Kerber 2-1 first set.
Love.
You know, I like the way Kerber plays. She's pretty quiet out there. She's not explosive when she wins points. She really seems to pay attention and concentrate well.
Love. 40 love.
Well, we've seen all sorts of good forehands from Angelique Kerber. Inside out, down the line, and that one she catches late. It's deceptive, and it's very well played, followed by great serve.
Miss Kerber leads 3-1 first set.
Hasn't lost a point on serve yet, Kerber. 2 love games. Well, there was no hangover from the lack of conversions of the break points, was there?
No. See, it's Kerber who seems to be prepared to stay in the point as long as it's necessary, and it's not like she's playing defensively, because she isn't. She clobbers the ball given half a chance, but it's her concentration that allows her to do that.
15 all.
Well, she looked as though she might have been serving and volleying there. Irrespective, when you put the ball further in front and rotate in, it helps the serve.
Absolutely. Well, Lisicki has pushed Kerber's backhand and sort of tried to see if she could break that down, and that wasn't working, so now she's having a go at the forehand. So far that isn't working either. That is.
First one for Hawkeye.
Miss Kerber has 2 challenges remaining.
Well, it's another break point for Kerber.
Surprising when you think of Lisicki with a massive serve that she's Sabine break point down every service game.
Well, it could have been 5-love, as you say, but it's 4-1 Kerber.
Miss Kerber leads 4 games to 1 for sets.
Last 6 majors, 6 different winners on the women's side. Very difficult to look in the men's locker room beyond the top 3. It's up for grabs for so many, and when you look at the half, you've got Lisicki, Kerber, Radwanska, Kirilenko to make finals here. It's a huge opportunity.
Oh, well, what a big opportunity. And I still don't know who I pick as favourite. It will be certainly an unfamiliar name in the final. Once Sharapova left and now Kvitova's left.
Well, it's been a decade since a woman has won the French and then arrived here at Wimbledon to win. That was Serena in 2002.
Yeah, it's a very tall order. I mean, both the people who've lost who won the French, I mean, Rafa and Sharapova, they both said that they were fatigued. And I think they've been mentally fatigued because the French is, let's face it, it's such a hard slog to win mentally, especially for someone like Sharapova, who isn't a natural clay court player, and then of Rafa because of the opposition he had, and ongoing opposition. So it's very difficult to relax and then get geared up again.
Love 15.
Not many errors from Kerber.
30.
But it's quite possible, Chris, following up on what you were saying about her being unaccustomed to being here,
15.
that Kerber might tighten up a bit.
Wow.
Finally, Sabine Lisicki lets loose on a shot and it finds its mark.
It's wonderful movement. Glides over the ground. There's her mother in the centre there, leaning forwards. Vita, her manager, as well. Been pretty nervous.
Game is Lisicki.
A double fault gifts the first break for Lisicki.
Kerber leads 4 games to 2, first sets.
As if to emphasise your point.
Yeah.
It's a should-win match. I've never lost to her.
This is too easy. I'm 4-1 up.
But I'm playing for a semi-final at Wimbledon.
Oops. Just when I was commending her concentration.
Let's for set.
Certainly wasn't the sun. We're under the roof. The problem is, you know, Chris,
15 love.
you throw in 2 double faults in a game and suddenly the person on the other side of the net is feeling one whole lot better.
15 all.
She was.
Great length from Lisicki on the penultimate shot.
30-15.
Yeah, well, that shot was so close to the line. Kerber was so busy trying to get it back, she didn't really have time to think about whether it was in or out. Such a good rally, it deserved a winner to finish it off.
Well, the clenched fist is appearing for Lisicki. Different look and feel about her right now. A really long game she won. Huge. 2-love down. That's pretty big too. Close on the scoreboard now. 4-3.
Miss Kerber leads 4-3 first set. Time.
So we really do have a first set on our hands now. Good recovery this from Lisicki. Yes, she went a double breakdown, but I think if she'd gone 3-love a double breakdown, it could have gone very quickly.
Yeah, I think Lisicki was very fortunate to break back with the help of 2 double faults from Kerber. It's almost even Stevens now. It's a beautiful looking shot.
15-love.
But you don't get points for beauty, do you?
It's good use of the new balls, the slider out wide. Remember, Kerber won her first 2 service games to love before those doubles getting in the way in the last service game.
Wait, please.
Well, that backhand that
40 love.
Kerber hit was really hit with meaning. She stays behind the ball so well when she hits, and she's one of the few players who I think really uses her legs well.
Game is Kerber.
Back to serving to love ways for Kerber.
Miss Kerber leads 5 games to 3 first set.
Expression hardly ever changes. She got a little uptight at Eastbourne, understandably. Not converted on the 5 championship points. Tough to read, Kerber.
Yeah. I don't know her very well, so I can't. Oh, that was a miss hit because it's
Miss
what's
Lisicki is challenging the call on the right near sideline. Ball was called out.
technically it's legitimate, that shot. It was a carry or a double hit, but it was all in one stroke, so that was all right. And just went for too much, did Lisicki.
Love 15. Love 13. Miss Lisicki has 2 challenges remaining.
Practically not an unforced error from Kerber, and quite a few from Lisicki. She's got to get tidier.
Love 14.
It's a totally loose game from her.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just see look at that. Only 2 unforced errors from Kerber.
3 set points.
Game first set. Miss Kerber.
It's almost like she'd had enough of that set, Lisicki. Sit down, regroup. I think Lisicki's just spoken to Fiona Edwards. The phone's been picked up, so whether the trainer's been called, but Dr. Richard can only sit and wish the best for his daughter.
Well, it is tough. Wait, it's Kerber who's taken a wander, because I think they're calling for the trainer. It is tough when you have had a big win and you don't get a day to enjoy it, and you just straight back out. And
Trainer on the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, the trainer has been called to court.
Now, I think there's no sign of an injury. We talked about the ankle. Is it a timeout just to have a timeout, literally, from this match? The mindset to try to get some time to regroup, not breaking any rules here at all. But it's caused a lot of talk over the years, let's say, the comfort breaks or timeouts, and it will continue. But Steffi Graf is always going to be a very tough act to follow, Virginia. But the fact they've got 5 German women in the top 40, that helps each other.
oh, it absolutely does. I mean, I keep wishing we had another British male player, because that would help share the pressure that Andy has on him and the expectation. But it is fantastic that the Germans have got such and good, sort of exciting players when you think of Julia Gerges and
Mona
Petkovic.
Bartel looks fabulous, doesn't she?
Yeah, I know. I was very impressed with her. I did her match earlier in the week. I hadn't really seen much of Bartel, tall girl, and what I enjoyed was that she had some feel on the ball. She had power, but she also had nice controlled feel.
medical timeout for the right one.
Yep, it's catching a string. Strings. It's catching.
Yeah.
Just popped. It's fine. It's fine.
Stop.
Ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lisicki is now receiving a medical timeout.
Full time.
It's only shake.
I know. It shakes. Yep, thank you. That made this feel so relaxing.
So the burst blister getting treated.
It's hardly a medical timeout, is it?
Yeah.
But I guess they just have to call it that. But I had to laugh at Lisicki because she's such a congenial girl, and she was giggling at the trainer. Not looked like she was getting a manicure, but it was a little more serious than that.
Belinda Smith applying the treatment. They do such a wonderful job with the strapping, and they're timed as well for the medical timeouts. You get 3 minutes, so if you've got a strapping of a thigh or a leg or an ankle, they've got to do it within that time at the right pressure. And the miles of tape they must get through each year.
Absolutely. Different sort of tape for different conditions.
Time.
So the medical timeout is over. Focus.
Second set.
Well, it's a focus, refocus after the break, isn't it? Kerber to begin the second set.
Let's for serve. Love.
Well, the last game, Lisicki gave away because something was worrying her, but she needs to gather up her concentration pretty rapidly. It's better.
And the first come on from Lisicki.
15 all.
You often hear come jetzt with the German players.
Well,
30, 15.
in the previous game, Lisicki had to face exactly the same shot, a mishit return. She made a mess of it, but Kerber certainly didn't make a mess of that one. I was
40-13.
watching Federer, and except today it wasn't quite so good, but in the earlier matches, you know, that left-handed serve like Kerber has, they get these nice short returns, and they very alert for the short returns.
Game is Kerber.
So Kerber not disturbed by the break, holds again.
First game, second sets.
Set 1-love now after 41 minutes. It's still very much for Lisicki to do.
Absolutely, and despite the fact that Sabine Lisicki has a famous serve, she's not doing too well. There are only 22% of her serves that are coming back unreturned. And when she's returning, she's missing 45% of Kerber's serve. So those aren't good enough numbers for Lisicki. Well, you know, that's just exactly the case in point I'm making. It was such a good serve that the return was bound to be short, and Lisicki was hanging back on the baseline. You know, you have to remember that you should expect a short return off a big serve.
Miss Lisicki is challenging the call on the right centre service line. The ball's called out.
Must have felt good when she hit it to challenge straight away. But it's wide.
Second serve. Right, please. Oh. 15-13. Miss Lisicki has 2 challenges remaining.
I don't have the feeling, Chris, that Lisicki's really in this match. I mean, I know that sometimes happens. I know it's sometimes because of nerves. It's not usually for any other reason.
More break points. Yes, a strange game so far. Pretty loose game from Lisicki.
Game, Miss Kerber.
Which continues. A burst blister.
Miss Kerber leads 2 games to love, second sets.
Was the problem for Lisicki, which had to be treated. She said she caught it on the strings, which made it pop. So Belinda Smith came on and applied the iodine, or whatever they use these days, put a bit of tape over the top. But Kerber didn't look disturbed at all when the second set restarted, or started for the first time.
Love 15.
Well, there have been a couple of brilliant shots like that one from Lisicki, but she also looks like she needs to really get herself in gear. You know, sometimes when you're having a slightly flat day, and that can be for all sorts of reasons, but it's usually to do with nerves, you have to do something to perk yourself up. Jump around, run, get a little angry. Oh, boy.
13, 15.
You have to recognize how you're feeling on a day.
He's starting to smile, isn't he, Torben Beltz, Kerber's coach? Just too many of those. She knows it. That's how the blister burst. Putting the string straight.
Yeah, way too many errors in comparison from Sabine Lisicki. She's going to have to start motoring soon. No.
Second 3 love it is for Kerber. First time on centre court's going rather nicely.
Kerber leads 3 games to love, second set. Semi 1 set to love.
And remember, more experienced here in terms of doing well here. Quarter-finalist in 09. She beat Kuznetsova, ranked 5 in the world at the time. Then Wozniacki, ranked 9, before losing to Safina 6-1 in the third. That was when Dinara was #1 in the world. And then, of course, the run to the semis last year. But it doesn't look like that's going to help her at all here.
No, and that tremendous match against Li Na last year. And you see Sabine Lisicki when she gets the bit between her teeth and she just goes for broke and her eyes open up and she's sitting screaming winners and big serves. And today she is as flat as a pancake.
I know I'm labouring the point, Virginia, but does it go back to the fact that it's a nemesis player, never beaten Kerber? She's sort of the older player, so in juniors she was the boss, you would imagine. She is the German #1 now, who's won the most matches this year on tour.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, she hasn't got a good record against Kerber, and for all those reasons you said. But also you have to recognize what's happening to you when
Yes.
things, you're not the same every day.
Cameras with a flash, thank you.
So, you know, if you're very hyper, you have to calm yourself down. If you're flat, you have to do the reverse. But that was funny because Kerber just pushed the ball back. She thought it was going to be quarter fault, but she could have held it. She could have said, no, I didn't think that was in.
Must be a horrible feeling. You're playing nowhere near your best. I think it's reflected through mum and dad too.
Yeah, a long, slow blink from Mama there. And a pretty basic point here. Good first serve, defensive return, and a beautiful winner.
Wow.
Oh, we've been talking about how good the forehand is. It's not so shabby, that one. Well, once again, you have to actually commend Kerber for getting as many balls back as she did. And then finally, a cool head created a relieved winning shot and a clenched fist.
Game is Lisicki. Kerber leads 3-1, second set.
Well, a must-win service game held by Lisicki. Keeps it to the single break. Kerber setting 3-1.
15 love.
You know, there's just a moment here when Kerber could get a little fragile, but that was a terrible shot, I have to say, from Lisicki. That forehand, again, low in the net.
All. Thirteen, 15.
Well, it's a real mixture coming off Lisicki's racket, isn't it? There was a magnificent shot, but the one before, nothing like it.
She needs a thermostat, doesn't she, Lisicki?
That's absolutely right. Oh, dear,
Just
oh dear.
hot and cold.
13.
But Chris, every shot she's hit that's been an error, virtually every shot is going into the net. Which is sort of unusual, actually. Just getting on top of the ball, especially on grass, you have to really get under it.
It's the loudest applause of the match.
That was the best point, wasn't it?
The crowd will be quite pleased to have more of a match as well.
Well, here's a little window for Lisicki. She has broken serve.
There's the cognacs.
Kerber leads 3 games to 2, second set. My 1 set to love.
And Lisicki breaks back, and Kerber will be disappointed because she had a chance to win that point.
She really did, and she probably is paying the price for having not been at the net at all. She can volley, but if you wait this long before you get into the net and the ball comes straight at you, you're not feeling so terrific. They're feeling a little better about life. Now, maybe Lisicki's waiting for that, I'm being sarcastic now. She's waiting for the crowd to come in, but it's playing a dangerous game.
Yes.
I mean, she was a break point for 4-1 down there.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
I mean,
interesting, isn't it? When players make errors, they have to think, obviously. And when you've got a bugbear player or you're low in confidence, whatever it is, your thinking becomes a little clouded. Whereas when you're on a winning streak, as Kerber has 44 wins this year, that becomes a habit.
Absolutely, Chris. I mean, when you win, you get, I always say it's just a habit. Get to a big point and you're used to winning it. You know how to think clearly, and you're right. thinking becomes clouded. You get flustered, your head fries.
Quiet, please. Thank you. Players are ready.
So Lisicki, 2-3 second set. Spring in the step.
15 love.
Well, is this the beginning of a new match out here?
Fabulous. In full flight.
30 love.
Where has that been until now?
Love.
Her first love game. It's a run of 3 games each, second set.
3 games all, second sets.
Virtually an hour it took for Lisicki to hit her stride.
Love 15. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please do not use cameras with a flash. Thank you.
You've got to know how to deactivate them, that's the problem. Match is turning.
Well, as you said, spring in her step, she's moving, she's hustling.
Love 13.
Her eyes are wide open.
Big reaction from Kerber to stop the slide.
15, 30.
Yeah, sort of a deep sigh from the coach. Is this a big point coming up?
30 all.
Made it.
Well, it wasn't a bad second serve. That was a little bit slow, but it got punished, and really punished by the second shot.
Deuce.
Playing very quickly, Kerber, at the moment.
Well, she looks like she strolls around, but she actually gets on with it.
Advantage, Miss Kerber.
Well, it was a skidding ball, so that was a little ambitious, but always a smile on Lisicki's face. What a good girl she is.
She's trusting that backhand, isn't she, Lisicki?
She's just so much more alert. She's playing now.
Well, the grunt was as long as the follow-through on this forehand from Kerber.
Boy, she drives through the ball, stays behind it well.
But still getting plenty of backhands.
Still, it seems to me that the just slightly superior concentration from Kerber and managing to stay relatively calm under pressure and retrieve some bullets, just giving her a slight edge.
It's a terrific mini battle to win for the German #1. Saves the break point.
Kerber leads 4-3, second set, by 1 set to love.
And stops those runner games against her.
Well, I mean, that was Lisicki having a golden patch there, and anybody else could have completely crumbled. Frankly, I didn't think it was Kerber who went off the boil as much as suddenly Lisicki just finding the center of the racket and finding her footwork and seeing the ball better. I have to hand it to Kerber. She really withstands a lot, doesn't she?
And her movement is fantastic.
Yeah, anticipation, and what I really like is the way she, when it's so hard at her, she uses her legs to just half volley the ball back deep.
Ranked 8 in the world at the moment, a career high. She's 4th in the world this year, remember. And she is a top 4 player, isn't she?
I mean, I have only seen her play really well. That's the sort of shot that she hangs in with. I mean, a very tough shot. So, pressure swinging back and forth here.
New balls in play again for Lisicki, serving at 3-4, second set.
Boy.
Love.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
And suddenly going to the Lisicki forehand with the new balls. dangerous.
Yeah, there was no way that ball could find its mark. Well done.
Nothing wrong with that. Almost a smile appearing on Vicky's mother's face.
Let's listen.
Challenged by Kerber. There was definitely a puff of white, but has it hit the right line?
She was pretty sure it was good.
Kerber has 2 challenges remaining.
So 4-all, second set.
Once again, just superior concentration from Kerber, and maybe even willpower.
Well, she was given the whole racket. She certainly used all of it there.
Yeah, this was the first time she was a little slow to see that ball was going to come over. I mean, it was wiggling all over the place with the miss hit. Did you see Kerber? The ball's flying up in there, so it's taking its time to come down, but anybody else would probably be bouncing around waiting for it. She just sort of stood there. Come on, I'm ready for you.
40, 50.
Just on the back of the line. Did she challenge early enough from that?
Interesting. Well in.
40, 13. Miss Kerber has 1 challenge remaining.
Ooh, that's close.
Miss Kerber.
No challenge from Lisicki.
Miss Kerber leads 5 games to 4, second set. Stand by 1 set to love.
Just I think going back to your point about the resilience of Kerber, Lisicki hits it flatter as well, doesn't she? There's less margin for error.
Yeah, I sometimes think that Lisicki hits the ball without really having a purpose in mind. I mean, she just goes in and hits it, whereas Kerber, I think, really has her mind in gear all the time and thinks, well, I know I'm going to hit it there, and then I'm going to hit it there. And actually, I'm always very impressed with the way Kerber plays. By the same token, I've been so impressed by Lisicki over the years, and particularly at Wimbledon last year, and I don't know why she doesn't do better. But we do see some patches of lack of concentration, so it might be that.
Well, she certainly can't afford a lapse right now. She's got to hold serve to stay in this quarter-final.
Time.
Much to chew over. Looking for her first semi here, remember, Kerber. Got to the semis of the US last year. Surprised everybody, maybe not herself, but she's a game away. Lisicki serving to stay in the match at a set and 4-5 down.
Love 15.
Bad luck and just a little ambitious. I don't think that was possible to hit quite as good a shot so close to the line and get it in.
Let's second serve. Miss Lisicki is challenging the ball on the right.
And this is a very important challenge. She's found some evidence on the ball that it caught the line. Wow, that is 1 millimetre in, we're being told.
I think that the white must have come from another shot. It's been spellbinding the last 4 or 5 games. Kerber with a game point to go up 4-1, and then suddenly Lisicki started to play. Too good.
Well, that is what you call closing the net there.
30 all.
Torben Beltz having to suppress a smile. Might not have to for very long. It is match point for Angelique Kerber.
Not so quickly.
Remember, Kerber had 5 championship points at Eastbourne. Win.
Oh, she had a chance on that.
Advantage, Miss Kerber.
Second chance.
Let's Husser.
As cool as you like. What a save that was.
Absolutely brilliant play from Lisicki on a second match point down.
Advantage, Miss Lisicki.
Golly, I wonder if those match points that she lost against Amira Pasha could, Eastbourne are beginning to haunt her. It's hard to tell.
That is one of the best serves in the match. What a time to serve it.
Advantage, Miss Lisicki.
A few cheering. That hole saves 2 match points. The match continues.
5-all, second sets.
Well, a quick look at that incredible match point that Lisicki had to save. I mean, that's as good a shot there from Kerber, and so it goes on. And finally, there's an amazing volley.
Love 15.
Eyes wide open again.
15 all.
She was just seeing a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. But she's got to work hard to see it again.
13.
So many balls like that are missed. Massive serve, floating return, followed by an error.
30 all.
Still going for it. Not looking just to take a bit off, make a play.
You're right.
Not in her vocabulary, I don't think, is it?
No. Oh, on the line.
40-13. Kerber leads 6 games to 5, second set, and by 1 set to love.
That was a relatively tame game, wasn't it?
Yes.
The one before was full of fast, furious shot making and drama and the match points. And suddenly it went back to sort of cool. Don't know what to expect.
When do you think Lisicki makes her mind up on what return to hit Virginia? I mean, at love 15, 15-30, the 2 sliders to the back end, 2 errors.
Somehow it's almost like she dissociates, you know. It's like just watch the ball and hit it as hard as you can.
Yeah.
With your feet. I don't know, that seems to be the name of the game, mostly, more so even in the women's game. I mean, they hit the ball massively hard. I think the men have begun to realize that they have to throw in some variety and mix it up a bit. But there's such reluctance to come forward. I mean, Lisicki has come forward a few times to give her a due. Both serving exactly the same first serve percentage in, and that's 63.
5-6, second set. Second time serving to stay in the match. Remember, she saved 2 match points already. Lisicki. She walked out with intent.
15 love.
Did Kerber try to slow it down then? And she got punished for it.
Nice.
Good.
Saw variety there, didn't we?
Yeah.
30 love.
I like those angle shots. Didn't even have to be that good, that last shot. An error from Lisicki on the wide forehand, but in general they both hit that really wide forehand on the run extremely well.
Adds to the tension, that double fault. Good recovery on the line. Lisicki's challenge, Kerber's challenging rather.
Very good anticipation from Kerber, but I think she's not going to get any joy from this overall.
They used to say you couldn't see it for the chalk.
40-30.
Gee, that was a tremendous point from Kerber. She had to cover so much court. She stayed down so well. She hopes she's not going to get another dodgy call. Goodness. Pure brilliance that. Wise, I'm not sure about, but brilliant.
Well done. Now remember, Lisicki has never beaten Kerber, but they've only ever played one tiebreak. Lisicki won that 7-4.
Kerber doesn't exactly hang around, does she? You'd think that a tiebreak, you might take a few deep breaths and regroup and think about it, and no, she wanted to get right on there. Too bad.
Yeah, took a nasty slip there, Lisicki.
2-0.
Wisely taking some time to recover from this.
Well, it's Kerber who's been on the defensive all the way through this point and finally can't defend any longer. It always seems Kerber is very quick to pick the right thing to do with the ball. Doesn't waste any energy out there, and then she does, usually goes the right way and sees it well. Oh, on the line.
plays it on its merits, doesn't she, the ball, Kerber?
Absolutely. Lisicki really toying with the line there. A little bit lucky to get it so deep and keep it in.
Interesting. Yeah, wow.
I tell you, Kerber does have a good drop shot, and we haven't really been able to have a look at it today, and that was not a good example of one. She's been so good through this match at playing the points out, not trying to rush them, not trying to win them too quickly, so she's still got to retain that attitude at this crunch time. Oh dear.
Old Faithful on that wide serve.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're a left-hander with a good serve, I wouldn't even mess with not going there on a nervous point. Did she get that ball in? I don't know how she did that. Down on her knees. We've seen Kerber on her knees, but Lisicki too.
– 2 points from the end of the match or a final set. It's set point for Lisicki.
6-5, Miss Lisicki.
2 simple points, big serve and a put away.
Thank you.
She knew it was going there, obviously, but still couldn't make a play.
I think the mother was talking to somebody else, not to herself.
It's absorbing, isn't it? Do you trust Lisicki enough? Is
Yeah.
Kerber going to go for it more? Six all. Again, amazing defense from Kerber.
7-6, Miss Kerber.
Sets up a third match point.
I don't don't get the feeling she's been enjoying returning from the left court as much, so it's not a gimme, this point.
Fabulous. Three match points gone.
Fantastic serve.
Set point number 2 for Lisicki. It's in. Is it? And the way that Kerber has responded, she knows, I think, that this is in. What a moment to leave the ball. Here's Hawkeye. It's one set all. And there are cheers in the crowd for the semi-finalist last year. Lisicki has saved 3 match points, and after an hour and 38 minutes has taken this quarter-final the distance.
7 games to 6.
No wonder Kerber needs a change of scenery. 5 championship points she couldn't convert in Eastbourne against Tamira Paszek, another of the quarter-finalists here at Wimbledon. And this could be the day now for Lisicki to get her first win against her fellow German. And quite a lot to talk about, Virginia, too.
I'm lost for words, Chris. I mean, really, Sabine Lisicki left that so late before she started really and truly connecting with the ball, and now she certainly is. And it is a monumental battle now. Is she going to be able to keep that up? I mean, when you think of what she's been doing, she's been hitting so many winners, but a lot of unforced errors, and Angelique Kerber relatively few of each.
Both women have taken a comfort break. Who's going to come back the more comfortable? It's got to be Lisicki, hasn't it?
I would definitely think Lisicki would be the more comfortable, although she's not quite as experienced at winning as Kerber is. But as you said, just look at that. Sabine Lisicki, 46 winners compared with 13.
And if you could have a chat with Angelique Kerber right now, would you say come back and be a little more proactive? Don't rely on defense, because Lisicki is starting to get the numbers right.
Yeah, I mean, look at the unforced errors, so only 4 unforced errors.
Yeah, but it's one set all.
I don't think I can fault Kerber on the way she's played. I mean, the only thing I can fault her on was that drop shot attempt. What was it, a 3-2 in the tie break?
And how much, Virginia, the championship points, the Eastbourne that went begging, the 3 match points here, how big a burden is that?
I think that's a big burden. I think you get a lot of after effects from doing that. You know, once it's happened to you, you begin to not automatically play the match points the way you'd like to, and suddenly the thought process goes slightly wonky, and she looks somewhat down now, so she's got to regroup fast.
And for Torben Beltz, remember, there was almost a smile, wasn't there, on his face when the first of the match points came along. He's very much got his match face back on now.
Yeah, I would probably like my coach to convey a slightly more positive look than that. But, you know, I mean, I've just been absolutely enthralled by the fact that Kerber just keeps going on. She's very, very businesslike. Her concentration is fantastic. So I think she's just got to find a way to pull in the reins on Lisicki's big shots.
Do you think Kerber's surprised by the resistance from Lisicki? In terms of, she's not lost to her before. Did she expect her to crumble? Because any of those thoughts that creep in, that's significant too.
Well, you know, when you know that the opponent was having a really hot tournament, I mean, she came up with a mega win against Sharapova yesterday, Kerber's got to be thinking, boy, she's playing pretty well. And I would think she'd be ready for that. I definitely think she would be ready for that. I mean, I think the one thing in Lisicki's favor really is that she's played more out here on this court than Kerber has. But Kerber,
How long is she?
she's getting a little irritated.
She certainly is.
Don't blame her, actually.
But she mustn't let that get under her skin either. I mean, she can channel it positively, looking for her. When is she coming back? Then fine, but there's enough to deal with already in this match for Kerber.
And if I were she, I mean, she's had time to change her shirt, Kerber. She's back, she sat for a while, she's relaxed. I mean, if I were she, I would be up out of my chair, bouncing around, getting your heart rate back up at the optimum level.
Here she comes. Ready for an even longer match. She's fully armed. The trusty banana. She's been eating the whole match. She's been smiling the whole match too.
Yeah.
Remember, she'd gone on this losing run coming into the tournament, had Lisicki.
Time.
She injured that left ankle again at Charleston, lost first round Rome to Rakovic, Strasbourg to Parmentier, the French Open, Bethany Matic Sands, and the first match in Birmingham to Ursula Rakatska. This is some tournament she's putting together, defending semi-finals last year.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a reminder, please do not use cameras with a flash.
So the comfort break is over. 1 hour and 44 minutes, the match so far. Lisicki to begin the final set.
I think the beginning of this set is
Love 15.
quite important because the serving has reversed, of course, after tiebreak second set. Lisicki serving first, and she took a long time, as we know, to come back.
15 all.
It's funny, you'd think that the right-hander serving into the left court against the lefty would struggle a little bit, but she's had very good results serving into the left court.
Let's first serve. 15-30.
Mm.
15-14.
She's dictating the play, though, in every sense, Lisicki, still, at the start of this final set. 2 more break points for Kerber.
Oh, that's an excellent serve.
30-14.
She just keeps powdering that serve, but to all spots on the court.
Game is Kerber.
Kerber breaks again, has the initiative again.
First game, final sets.
I don't think anyone's convinced that it's a real breakthrough from what we've seen so far.
Well, I mean, that was Lisicki cool again. She took 1 hour almost before she started to really see the ball, really move, really open her eyes and connect with it. And then that was back to turning the heat off. Trying to turn the heat up, but she's made a lot of errors in this match. I mean, an enormous number of winners, but don't want to get too far behind.
Wow,
15-all.
real frustration. Always talk about it. Every player's got an evil twin ready to start talking. I think Lisicki has good positive conversation with hers.
I think that's so true.
Kerber, as a result of that last reaction, and then that too,
15-13.
is feeling the heat in every sense right now. And yet she's just broken.
Yep. Oh, she had a chance, and it makes me laugh when Kerber just waits for that ball stock still.
Makes Lisicki laugh too.
Okay, that's a big point. Where did that shot come from? Super.
A better conversion rate, just. Less of them. The seesaw continues. Lisicki breaks straight back.
One game all, final sets.
A little bit of fatigue coming into Kerber's game, and I think it's more mental fatigue, but it could be physical as well, but just not as tight and not as thinking as clearly. Well, she knew she didn't have any chance to get the wide ball. Good serve.
To the quarterfinals, Kerber is 4 hours 33, Lisicki 6 hours 45.
Well, you can't be fooled by your opponent just letting a ball go by and just looking exhausted for a split second. So often they just have to release the pressure that's building up, and you know, they'll regroup pretty quickly. Mm-mm.
15-13.
What often happens when on one side of the net, you know, there'll be an equal amount of pressure on one side of the net, somebody just sort of drops their shoulders and looks defeated. Suddenly the pressure goes out of the other person's balloon. Mm-hmm.
15.
Yet more break points.
Everything's gone flat at the beginning of this third set. So, such high voltage at the end of the second. Oh, that was close. Definitely the tactic against Kerber is to push her out wide on the backhand and get a defensive shot, opening up the forehand side for a winner.
Deuce.
Now in the, sorry Virginia, in the royal box, Carol and Michael Middleton, they had some nerves to deal with last year, didn't they?
You might say.
Jog back, saving 2 break points. It's stacking up now against Kerber.
Yes, Lisicki leads 2-1, final set.
3 match points gone, a break up in this set. It's gone 2 break points in that last game. Match is turning again.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's turning for the final time though. So we have a quick look at where Lisicki's been hitting the ball in the first set. Looks like she was too far behind the baseline, if you ask me. And then she started to really get the ball on the rise, and as soon as you start timing the ball better, you're going to be hitting it further in front, and of course they're going to be hitting it a little shorter, and so it could be even more dramatic than that, the change. It seemed that it was quite a dramatic change, but second set still wasn't all Lisicki until halfway through. It was Kerber was 3-1 with a game point to be 4-1 up in the second set. So it's been Kerber who's been really paying the price for not taking advantage of her break points.
Right, please, thank you. Players are ready.
New balls, Kerber 1-2, final set. Still talking to herself negatively, Kerber.
She's pretty annoyed, isn't she, with herself.
Back of the line.
It's funny, this match was so intriguing. First and second serve and the turnaround, and it suddenly got sort of just into a bashing match. I guess that's what can happen at the beginning of the third set, and then once you get to 2-all or 3-all, it starts getting more intense again.
40-50.
That was a strange point.
2 games all, final set.
2-all it is.
Kerber's coach is looking at her really mystified. She's had a little pause. She needs to get back into gear here.
Love.
Do you have patches and long matches where you think all sorts of different things, and certainly Kerber is thinking, I think that she's not going to win this match right now. She may pull herself together.
There are times when Kerber just literally stands and looks. Is it going to go in or is it going to go out?
Yeah,
It's that hard.
I think she's, in a way, she's thinking, you know, if I can keep the ball back in, Lisicki might do the work for me and make some errors.
Let's press it.
Good play from Lisicki.
30-15.
course, I would think at this stage that this is a match for Lisicki to win. I think it's up to her now. She's got to, you know, keep her concentration and not play quite as many loose shots as she does.
She's looked to win it more, hasn't she?
Just like that. I mean, that was, I have to say, that was a sloppy shot at that stage.
Just smiles it off, though. I think that's why people like her so much.
She's always smiling off the court as well.
Miss Kerber.
Well, it's another break point. She's having to be a sponge today, Kerber.
She's had 13 break points and only won 5 of them.
Look at the faces. Nods of approval, bewilderment on some of them.
Well, she bided her time well. And she knew that Kerber had missed some opportunities to do something a little bit more interesting with the ball than just hit it back deep.
Yeah, congratulations all round.
I mean, Kerber really has to take advantage of the errors from Lisicki, but she's got to do a little bit more at times and either make some angles, open up the court for herself to hit her big shot. She was doing it early on in the match, and now she's just got into a different rhythm.
Third break of the set, and once more Kerber has the initiative.
Kerber leads 3-2, final set.
And how many times we've said that in this match. I mean, the bag of chances for Kerber must weigh like a ton on her back, but she's in front again.
Yeah, well, I mean, she has changed the way she's played, hasn't she? She sort of got into a more defensive mode. I mean, it's almost like she's on automatic, and she may be a little tired, and by this stage of the match, when you've played over 2 hours, you do sort of just get to react to the ball rather than being able to think, well, I'm going to hit it here and then here, which she was doing early on. I was listening to somebody on Radio Wimbledon talking about her match yesterday and saying that against Clijsters, so she killed, and saying that she was defensive, and I thought, that's not the way I think of Kerber's playing, but now I understand what he meant. she's got defensive, and her return, she makes all the returns, but she floats them a little bit high over the net, and it gives Lisicki some chances to nail the ball.
Well, it still grips you, this battle.
Oh, yes.
Kerber. 3-2, final set after 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Again, an error from Lisicki, but you know, I mean, just going back to that about Kerber, I think she has to be a little more proactive. Rolling in the second serve, 72 miles an hour.
It's a wonderful angle.
15 all.
Great shot.
It's such a similar pattern. Kerber's reaction is to just get heavy again and just stand still at the power, the onslaught that she's having to put up with all the time.
She's a little tired.
Ooh, that's
bad
close. The crowd didn't hear the call, but Hawkeye will let them know. That it was in.
So they have to replay the point, I guess, because Kerber got a racket on it.
Yeah.
15-30.
Oh, it was a better serve, but bad luck for Lisicki about that. It's Lisicki who's being much more the one trying to make the openings, trying to do something.
Well, she's asked Fiona Edwards, Kerber, whether it was out. Fiona Edwards was stunned. So Hawkeye again. It's another break point.
30-14.
Little wishful thinking from Kerber. How close was that? I thought she'd learn it.
Final sets.
For the second time, she breaks straight back, and that was a long, long way out. She was looking to do more.
Quiet, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Slightly better point for Kerber right there.
in unison.
Yes. The right message. Lovely serve.
Miss Kerber is challenging the call on the left bar sideline.
Might as well.
What an awkward shot. How she managed to get that in. Really had to work on it to keep it from going out wide. Shot. Well, there've only been a couple of winning returns.
Advantage is Lisicki.
Come on and come yet in that game. From Lisicki as she takes a 4-3 lead final set.
Leads 4 games to 3, final set. Time.
Yes, frustration for Kirilenko and Radwanska. Different sort of frustrations on centre court.
Yeah. There's still another women's singles quarter-final to be played on court number 1 after that match, so might be a late night. And this match has had its twists and turns. And Kerber is not happy with herself. She just has been grumpy this last set, having lost all the opportunities to convert match points.
Now then, look at that look back to the camp and the shake of the head. Is she saying to herself, it's going to happen to me again? Eastbourne, 5 championship points. Brilliant. Three more break points for Lisicki. Take one of these. She'll serve for the match. The needs must.
15-14.
She's fighting herself as well as Lisicki at the moment.
Well, that looked a little beaten. A double fault.
Lisicki leads 5-3, final set.
Her third gifting the break. Been behind so many times in this match, Lisicki. But after 2 hours and 17 minutes, she's serving for the match at 5-3 final set.
Love 15.
Oh,
Love 13.
well, she's been so able to be creative in these last few games because Kerber's just given us a helping hand, but she's still got to do the hard work of winning it.
She looks loose all of a sudden, Kerber, just hitting out freely.
She's using her anger. She's not happy at
Love
all.
14.
3 more break points. She's 6 from 15 now. Well, I don't think anybody expected a smooth finish. The bumpy ride continues. Kerber breaks back.
My. Having been somewhat sulky in the last few games and not 100% there, I guess she decided that she doesn't really want to lose this match. Lisicki, having not beaten her before, she gets a little edgy, of course, as everybody does, trying to close it out. I have to say that Tobin Belts looks a little, doesn't look quite positive enough to me. You know, I mean, when you've fed up and you've lost all those match points, when you've had chances to be way ahead, but it's still close.
Yeah.
You still want to get somebody in your box saying, you know, don't worry about it. Come on, keep fighting. Just looks somewhat shell-shocked.
Time.
Well, there's 12 breaks in the match so far. The nearest and dearest, they can just keep being supportive. The Lisicki side.
Love 15.
It was a tight shot.
She's challenging. Lisicki would have done if there hadn't have been a call.
She was having to cover an awful lot of mileage right there.
Oh, it's in. Now, is that a clean winner? Because Lisicki didn't get a play on it. And does that turn the tide? It's 15 all.
15 all.
Thank heavens for Hawkeye.
Well, that
15.
tell you, that little episode made her feel a whole lot better. Re-energized.
It's nail biting again.
You've talked about it all match, the difficulty of beating somebody when you haven't beaten them before, and the slight seniority of Angelique Kerber. Let alone the difficulty of playing a compatriot in a big match like this.
Win-win for Germany.
So many good players.
Love 13.
Double figures on the ace count. Does Lisicki think the return was going out?
15-14.
She seemed to stop a little.
Yeah, I think she probably did.
2 more break points.
Is that in? Looked long.
20-14.
1 challenge left. And we hear it was long. She had her challenged. Nothing wrong with your eyesight, Virginia.
Oh, I mean, I saw that long. I don't know whether she asked the umpire and the umpire suggested it was good, or she was too late.
Another break. 3 games in a row for Kerber.
Kerber leads 6-5, final set.
She'll serve for the match for a 3rd time.
This has been, yeah, all the other times in the previous set, this has been such a roller coaster emotionally, but particularly for Kerber, who had everything under control and then just started to slide a little bit more negative, and which gave Lisicki the opportunity to start getting energized, and this set. She didn't want to play. She was aggravated. She was sulking a bit, Kerber. And Lisicki couldn't put it away.
Yes, it started quite slowly. The crowd were a little late coming back in. It's pretty full now on centre court. After 2 hours and 26 minutes. Can Kerber apply the finishing touches this time? No tie breaks, final sets at Wimbledon, remember? Singles. (6-5), final set.
15 love.
Slightly cautious first serve, but I think she's better to get her first serve, and both of them 27 unreturned serves. Second serve has been not causing Lisicki any problems. Oh no.
30 love.
A large R from the crowd. She's had 3 match points, Kerber. She has the luxury of 3 more
Please.
in a row. Fourth match point saved.
40-15.
It's lucky number 5 at Wimbledon, having lost 5 championship points at Eastbourne. It's delight for Angelique Kerber. The very first time she's played on centre court at Wimbledon, she's booked a place into her first Wimbledon semi-final.